Good morning. Good morning. Please let me know if you can see and hear me. Hi, Paul. Can you hear me on that side? All right. Good morning. Goeiemorgen. Kia ora. Welcome to our fourth official Facebook Live all the way from Tauranga in New Zealand, the North Island. My name is Viljoen. I'm a financial advisor on the North Island, but I work the South Island as well. Yeah, that is me in short. And this morning, it's not all about me. It's more about you and your kids. And we've asked Karen Blau from Auckland to pop in, and we're trying to go and get her live. So let me see if I can get her live this morning. So let me just get this technology correct. Just see, Karen, are you already watching or not? Guys, let me quickly go back to one or two things while we're just waiting for Karen on the other side. This is a bit delayed. We had a bit of bad weather the past few days, and yeah, but it's not that bad as everybody said. I had some comments of people asking, do you really want to live in the islands and so on, and one bridge that swept away. Even if stuff like that happens in New Zealand, they do have the means and the ways to rectify that quickly. Sadly, one person has died in the storms we had here, and we even had some rain last night. We had about 20 millimeters here in Tauranga, which is quite nice. It was a bit dry, but I think the worst of the drought has been broken now. My grass is starting to go green again. Believe it or not, we do have droughts in New Zealand from time to time. Let me quickly see if I can get Karen back, see if she's on here yet. Right, I've sent Karen an invite. See what happens. Right, we're adding Karen to the camera, and as soon as she appears on the camera, I'll quickly tell you what she is all about and what's happened to her. Good morning, Karen.
Hello.
Has the hair been done this morning? I know it's very early. Guys and girls, it's 7 o'clock in the morning in New Zealand, and I want to say welcome to Karen, that side. Karen, I just want to put some volume on somewhere. Let me hear. I don't know if I get some bad feedback on this. All right, Karen, can you hear me there?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Let me try something else quickly. Sorry, it's our first time that we ever had two people on. I hear you, yes. Try this. All right, Karen, I'm just going to start off and let you talk a bit. Karen is it a state agent? Is that the correct word that they call you guys?
Real estate. Real estate.
She's an estate agent with Barfoot and Thompson. She's quite professional in her field. She's doing great work that side, and yeah, keep it up. I've seen the houses that you had on Facebook last night, or on the internet that you are selling. Really great places. So perhaps you should start off and tell people a little bit about yourself. I just want to sort out a small technical problem on my side, but you can go on. You will be heard by everybody.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So, yeah, Jan and I have spoken. We actually have known each other since 2004. When I was in South Africa, I was in financial services, and that's where we got to know each other. And interestingly, we started talking to each other. He's coming New Zealand, and we also arrived in New Zealand a couple of months before him. And the reason he asked me to talk to you is I've got two kids, and I can also see following this page that a lot of you are asking questions about children, about schools. My two boys are 11, almost 12, and the other one is 8 years old. And yeah, I think all of you have got concerns of are your kids going to adapt? And I can definitely give you the surety that the schools are geared for kids, young, old. If the first language is Afrikaans, don't worry at all. Our first home language is Afrikaans, and they adapted very well. The schools are geared for kids all over the world. I will just elaborate on a few questions that Jana sent me. This one lady said her son is 15 in grade 10 and 13 in grade 8. You'll be coming to New Zealand in the third term. Um, don't worry, what they do, we arrived in a November month. What the school do is they actually take your kids in and they evaluate your child. What you have to do, another question was, what documents do you bring with? The school actually, when you immigrate, you have to ask your school for, it's almost like a leaving certificate where they put in like where your child is, the progress your child has made, and keep the whole year's school reports so that you can bring that with, so that they can see what and where your child is. And if it needs to be that they stay behind for a year, the school will decide that. So you don't have to be concerned what will happen. They will actually decide for you where your child starts off. I see there's a question, are your kids in private schools? I can honestly tell you, you don't need to go the private school route. The schools here are international standards in terms of schools. We all know that the Chinese in particular, they love having their kids in the best of the best. And let me tell you one thing, the school standards are way different to what you're used to. It's a very different way of schooling. Um, the beauty is your kids don't get homework. That's wonderful. Everything gets done in school. It's very advanced in terms of technology and inclusive. Um, for any parents whose kids need some extra help when it comes to reading, especially if your kids are first language Afrikaans, they call it ESOL. It's early support. If your English is a second language, they'll give your child extra reading, extra writing, extra maths lessons. Elaborating on school fees, beauty. You know what we pay for school fees in South Africa, and I know a lot of parents are paying private school fees in South Africa.
Karen, just a question from my side.
Yes. I can't hear you.
I don't know if you've already told the people about your kids and the special circumstances you had in South Africa. Can't you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you. Yes. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. It's a bit of a delay. Sorry about this. A bit of a delay. We're just trying to work around that. All right. Your kids had special circumstances in South Africa, and at the end of the day, you brought those kids to New Zealand. How did they adapt? I think you can elaborate on the special circumstances you had in South Africa versus what you had in South Africa and what you now have in New Zealand. I see there's a lot of people asking regarding stuff like ADHD and that type of thing. So perhaps you can elaborate on that for us.
Okay, so children on ADHD, my only advice would be just make sure you declare everything when you are doing your medicals. Tick that box because it's not going to count against you. They might ask you for an extra report that you just complete the report, send it through to immigration. It's the best you can do is to declare everything. Once you get this side, that actually you go and see your GP, your local GP, bring with as much reports from specialists, whoever you saw, and that GP will then put you in the system and they will start referring you through the process. You actually go see like a children specialist and then a psychologist, and then they will determine if the medication is necessary, and then you'll get the medication subscribed. If your children has got any other extra reading, writing needs, the school will provide you with that. Just talking about cost, so you pay a school donation fee. To give you an idea, for my youngest, the school donation for the year is $180, and a school donation for my other son who's gone to intermediate. Now that's your typical grade 4, grade 5. No, sorry, grade 6 and 7. So standaard 4 en 5 wat ons ken. That school fee for the year works out to about $350. And honestly, that includes a huge amount of things. They go on so many outdoor excursions, water-wise. It's scary what they actually get for the money you pay. Kids wear uniforms. Some schools do. Maybe when they start going to high school, definitely. But for example, my youngest, he doesn't wear school wear. The one in intermediate wears school wear. Honestly, my opinion, you don't have to spend the money to go private school. A lot of questions I get is, where do I take my child? I think you need to get here and first find accommodation. And once you've found where you live, that's when you start looking for accommodation. Also something you can look out for when you actually move this side and you find a place you stay. They call it deciling. So the area you live in gets deciled. So it just works almost like on the income for that particular area. So try and live in an area where you've got a decile 9 or 10 school, then you know you're actually going to get your child in a very well equipped and a financially stable school. Most schools on the North Shore and also schools around the Howard, that side is decile 10 schools. Jan, can I carry on talking? Yes, I would recommend it. Decile 10 school.
Please do.
Okay. My children are both in decile 10 schools. Decile 9 is also fine, perfectly fine. Other costs are questions. School hours. School starts from 9 o'clock in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And they do that purely, especially for mums, so that you can fit your work hours in between 9 and 3. Because a lot of times when parents arrive, the one who's not on the visa is the one that sorts out the kids. And that was me in this instance. So you try and find a job where you work between 9 and 3. If you pay aftercare fees, it works out to about $80 for the week to put your kids in an aftercare from 3 to 6. Then I'm just reading what else I'm seeing. Exams. Oh, wow, yes. My kids, the eldest, who's now
All right.
the grade. Yes. Just having a coffee for the morning. Yes,
Karen,
yeah.
you must tell me when you need to go. I know you need to get the kids to school this morning.
I've got,
Let me know. There's a
I've got
terrible
10
lag
minutes.
between Tauranga and Auckland.
Oh, is it? Okay, now I'm good. I've got 10 minutes left. Exams, to elaborate on exams, children only start writing exams from, my one is
Right.
12,
Carry
so
on
only from
talking
age
for the 10 minutes
14.
and then we'll just say goodbye.
Okay, I'll do that. So no exams, that's beautiful. It takes a lot of pressure off the parents. They do a lot of, what do you call it? Deurloping. Ekskuus, ek kan nie nou daai Engelse woord kry nie. So they do assessments right through the year. So no worries about that. Transport to school and back. My eldest, he takes the bus, 2.5 kilometers. He pays, I think it's 80 cents for his bus trip to school. School is about 2.5 kilometers from here, but most other schools are actually walking distance, where parents actually team up and take kids to school. You won't believe it, kids actually walk home in the afternoons. Little girls, 5 years old, they walk home. No, they don't get homework. That's very nice. Takes a lot of pressure off you. I'm just reading at other questions. So for kids, the little ones, because I know there's a lot of parents with little ones between age 3 and 5. So you do get that subsidy where kids actually have 20 hours a week where the government pays for them to go to schooling. So the subsidy covers that, and I think if you work a full week, don't quote me on that. You're right. You're going to look at around $250 for the other 20 hours of the week if you work full time. But yes, I can honestly tell you, as a parent who's got two elder boys and who had Afrikaans as a first language, hulle kyk mooi na ons kinders. This unbelievable the amount of international students that walks into school here. They're Indian, they're Chinese. Yesterday, my youngest told me, Mum, we've got a new boy from school. He's from the top of Africa. And he showed me the shape of a pyramid. And this boy is from Egypt, who started school yesterday. So they get new kids in. They are geared for new kids. And yeah, I've really got nothing that I can complain about. Aftercare for holidays, I'm glad that question is coming up. You need to budget for that. That's one thing that can become costly. You're looking at about anything between, depending on where you're based. If you're in Auckland, you're going to look at about $35, $40, $50 a day per child. If you're outside of Auckland, it's definitely going to be cheaper. But I mean, on the other side, you save on medical expenses, you save on paying school fees. So that's something that you definitely have to budget for. Info about baby care. There's a lot of mums that actually starts a business from home where they look after your baby from home. They charge about $7 an hour, and they must be screened. So they work through a company because this country is very much focused on health and safety. So they'll check if the home is good for babies and if you are set up for babies. So yes, they can look after your baby, and they will look. And there's a lot of South African ladies that actually starts that service. Choose subjects. Okay, no worry. You don't have to choose subjects. Grade 9, standard 7. As I say, the subjects are very different to what we have here, but a good different. You won't believe the amount of choice kids have got in terms of subjects. It's vast. It's very, very vast. It's not what we know it. It's robotics. It's very different. So you don't have to worry about it now. My biggest thing would be get your school and child into the right school, and most schools are good, and they will guide you from there. Sports, lots and lots of sports. My eldest loves rugby. He recently started basketball. Um, Loving it. New exposure. Rugby, as we know it, they don't play school rugby. They actually join a club until they get to, I think, high school. They actually play for the school. So a lot of sports at school. Something they do that I love is water wise, especially if you live like close to the water, where they teach the kids water safety, how to actually row a little boat. And at school, they do cross country, they do swim if the school has got swimming, they've got netball, they've got cricket, they've got hockey. Basketball, as I said, is big. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of sports to choose from. Unfortunately, I can't answer on the GED certificate. That is something that when you get here, or maybe you must ask your immigration advisor on that, and he would be able to tell you how that works. Just see if there's any other questions. If there's any other questions, you can feed them through. Club sport, how pricey? So, don't quote me, my husband paid for that, but I think the rugby cost for the season was $180. And that includes obviously the club, the coach, the games, the everything. And then they start playing rugby against all the other schools weekends. So that's more or less that. Swimming is pricey, but it's an amazing stadium. You're looking at about $15 a lesson. But one thing I also tell people is don't convert from rands to dollars. Once you start earning dollars, you look at things a bit different. What age do kids start reading? From age 5. I was amazed when I got here. My 7-year-old couldn't read or write. I went to school with him for a couple of days, and now he's reading and writing very, very fluently. First additional language is, no, they teach in English. That's their main language. And then kids, then they've got kapa haka, as they call it, most schools. And kapa haka is actually teaching them about the Maori culture, Maori language, which is actually quite lovely and traditional. I've heard kids say that you say kids adapt better than one would expect. Much better. I'm telling you, you should actually gear yourself rather as the parent. More, you need to be geared. Your kids just fall in, and I can guarantee you, if you as a parent are happy, your kids will be happy. We all know that we are usually the ones that stress more than the kids. So your kids are going to be fine. They'll be looked after. The teachers are good for them. If you're on a work essential skilled visa, it's free. You pay a school donation fee. Kids won't be held back. They actually move on with the class. And based on the next question I see here, if your child needs help, they will provide assistance in class or out of class. And they move much quicker than you think they do. Friends, it depends on your child. If your child, my one child is very shy, and he made one friend, and the teachers saw that that one friend is keeping him stable, so they moved him with his particular friend with my request onto the next year. So yeah, kids, bullying, I saw that question earlier about bullying. Yes, it happens. I haven't had an experience of bullying, maybe with the kids when they get older, when they're teenagers. But bullying is definitely, I haven't experienced it, so I can't comment on that at all. But I'm sure, as just looking at my kids' school, it will be, you know, they will look at the situation. Yes, Jan, I think for now that's me. Um, I hope I've been useful to you all.
Is
Thank you
that
for all
about
the
that?
comments.
Yep.
Yes, fantastic. You all have a good day. Now you're going to sleep now. Our day's starting. I'll chat to you again. Thank you, Jan. Have a good day.
Okay. Thank you.
Pleasure. Yes, hier julle.
Thank you. All right, that was Karen Blau from Barfoot and Thompson. She's an estate agent back. To post us a little ad of what she's selling currently. She's got a few nice houses down there, and if you are in that area, Karen is always open for a cup of coffee or just a chat if you need some help. I know Karen has helped a few other South African ladies that already came over that to help her adapt and so on. A lot of us in New Zealand is helping the South Africans that come around here to adapt, and we meet up with coffee and so on. So once again, thank you, Karen, very much for that. As I've always said, my kids are 22, the youngest. He's never been in school here. He's been in school in South Africa, so if you ask me anything about South African schools, I can tell you, but about New Zealand schools, nothing. Is there any other questions this morning? I don't want to go on too late. It's now about 7:27 in the morning here. Is there any other questions, not school related, please, that you quickly want me to run through? And then we can take it from there, and then probably say goodbye and have about a half an hour session only this morning. So let me know. All right. I'll ask Karen to post her contact details. I'll send her a message now as soon as we finish here. Anything else, guys, we can quickly help you with? Short thing. Thanks for everybody saying thank you. It's glad to see that somebody at least is finding some help from what we're trying to do this side. We understand what you are going through in South Africa. Quick thing, I received an email yesterday, actually about 2 or 3 emails, all saying we are thinking about coming to New Zealand. Guys, I can't help you to make up your mind to come here. You have to make up your own mind. Once you've made up your mind to come to New Zealand, really, then we are willing to help you to resettle the site. We are even helping people sometimes to look for jobs, which we try and see if we can find jobs that are available in your fields. We post them on this Facebook page as well. Chantal Hauser, hi Jan, can we discuss animal travel to New Zealand? Quick on animal travel, I haven't done. I've had 4 cats. It would have cost me 100,000 rand to bring them to New Zealand. They had to do certain inoculations that side. They had to be in quarantine that side. Then they had to fly over there to be in quarantine this side. Perhaps I'll get somebody else to tell us one day about the animals that they have brought over and how it worked. Mani Dockendorf says, I'm arriving on Sunday for interviews. Mani, if you ever come to Tauranga, look me up on Facebook, on this page, wherever, let's have a coffee. Yeah, the live feed will be available afterwards. Why is it so difficult to get pet-friendly houses to rent? Guys, the houses here, as I said in the past, if you look there, it's wood. And dogs jump up and they make holes in the houses and so on, so it's not a good thing. The owners of the houses are not very happy about that. On our way to New Zealand, that is Janine Gomez. See you soon, Queenstown. Well, I'm glad you guys could come. I'm planning on traveling in mid-May. Any B&B and car rental places you can suggest? Auckland to Hamilton. Willie Krieger, we've got a girl here that helps us with car rentals. I'll ask her to get hold of you. B&Bs, look on Airbnb, look on booking.com. Prices goes about $100 per night. That's roughly what you are going to have to pay that. Is the short-term insurance industry more or less the same that side with regards to the multi-mark 3 products of South Africa? Short-term insurance, this side is much easier. You insure everything under the house contents. You can't insure your cell phones if you go out. All is covered under the house contents. Your drones, your boat. You specialize specifically, insure that on its own. But everything else that we used to specialize or to specifically insure in South Africa, like your cell phones, your laptops, your rings, everything goes under the house contents. So easier to do so on. Hi Jan, can we discuss how to secure a rental? Quick thing about rentals. If you are renting in South Africa, bring with any like references from that side. Bring a letter from the people that you are renting from, stating what type of tenant you were. Were you a decent tenant? What was the house in? Everything just to prove to them here that you are a good tenant there. It's a bit difficult between the times and everything else for them. But they do really check up on everything. They check your Facebook, they check your LinkedIn page. You keep that clean as well. Even for rentals. It's a long story, but they like South Africans here on the rentals. They know we look after the houses more. You have one or two South Africans here that is, but not that decent, but on average, the South African is the better tenant out there. So it could be good for you if you are South African and you bring a few references with. I'll be coming to Tauranga, just waiting on a work visa. Jennifer Ann Fillet. I hope that's a right pronunciation of your surname. If he comes here, please let him make contact with us. We go for a coffee. As they say in New Zealand, I'll shout him for coffee. That means I will pay for the coffee. It's $5 a coffee, yeah, so don't fall over. $5 is really nothing in New Zealand. Een van die dae in Tauranga gaan lekker koffie drink en biltong eet. Sien julle gou. That's Henry Rose. Good, Henry. If you come here, you can also get a free coffee from me. Okay. Antonio Barbosa. Jan, what kind of business could I open in New Zealand? You can basically open any type of business here. The problem is you got to do it right. And you got to work with immigration on this. I'm not going to say anything more, but on the other way around, watch out for what type of business you want to buy. Because there's a lot of South Africans already being caught out buying a few dud businesses or businesses that doesn't make money this side. So let's keep that in mind. As there's good guys here, there's also some good guys here as well. So just keep that in mind. And running a business versus getting a hold of that and bringing that over, or using that as leverage to bring you over could be a difficult thing. So best to get hold of immigration on this one, hey guys. I see Leon is also here. Good morning, Leon. Elaine, if you bring your pets over, it's good to have an extra letter for rentals for your pets. That is a fact. They want to know from the previous landlords what was the pets all about. What is needed if we have not rented properly in South Africa? Bring a home loan statement. It's good. It proves to them that you are responsible, that you have had your own house. They do understand that the difference in prices here is not affordable for most of South Africans just walking into the country the first day to buy a house. Eventually, in the long run, you need to buy a house. That's the thing to work towards. But if you walk in here, the price that you have paid for your South African house will probably not even be enough for a deposit here. So to be quite frank about that. House prices in New Zealand range from 550 upwards to 1.2 million for an average house. That's just an average house. I'm not talking about anything elaborate. I'm not talking about something that's got sea views or something. So what else? Still waiting for work visa. Very frustrated. Will be in Tauranga soon. Kyle Besaiden out. Why is everybody wanting to come to Tauranga? Huh? Just because I'm here. It's a nice place. Don't worry. Which airline is the best for small kids? I would think regarding airlines, probably take the fastest one. I think Qantas is at this stage the fastest one. And they really do good thing. You can get here, I think in about 18 hours or so. On the point of airlines and travel, we've got a travel agent on this page. She'll get hold of you guys and give you a bit feedback on which planes to use and so on. Remember, there's specials for if you are immigrating. I think you can come over on a single ticket and carry 40 kilos of luggage. It's quite important sometimes. I know the ladies, their shoes about 30 kgs, and then we guys come with a pair of pants. That's another 10 kgs. So What is the normal deposit when you want to buy a house in New Zealand? The normal deposit is 20%. Let's get that right. The normal deposit is 20%. That's where your banks is comfortable with. Once you go below 20%, you can go as low as 5%. But then there's certain rules and regulations, and you will be paying more interest-wise. So the less you go down, or the further you go down from 20% down to roughly about 5%, they have certain rules and regulations, and some of these rules will be that you're only allowed to buy new builds. A new build means something that's just been built now, because they know it will confer to all the right building codes. There's a lot of building codes here, certain things that must be in, certain things that's not being in. But that is if you go below 20%. Now, 20% on a $500,000 or $600,000 house is 120,000, is roughly 1.2 million rand. Let's keep that in mind. So, all right. I'll ask our resident travel agent to post the details for you guys, and that is me. I'm gonna love you and leave you. It's half an hour, just over half an hour. Thanks for being here with us this morning, and we'll speak probably next Wednesday again. Have a lovely day and stay safe in South Africa.